Welcome, everybody, to Town Hall 97. It's Wednesday, January 11th, 2023. Let's move on to the next slide there, Melissa.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody. It's our first Town Hall.
Is it still okay to say that?
I think so. I think as long as this is our first seeing of everyone, then that's okay. I believe.
Okay.
So
welcome.
Have
some good etiquette.
You want to follow the appropriate etiquette. I get that. So let's get rolling here. My name is John Best. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Best Innovation Group. And with me is one of my dear friends, Mike Lawson, creator and host of CU Broadcast. For those of you who are new here, and there might be a few, we put this together in 2020 when the pandemic hit. Mike and I just looked at each other and went, well, what's the best thing we could possibly do? And we thought, well, the best thing we could possibly do is foster collaboration amongst all the credit unions because there was so much unknown out there.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I got a Zoom account. And back then we used to, if you remember, we used to have to explain Zoom to everybody.
I know.
Now Zoom is just, second nature to everyone, which is pretty crazy. So here we are, and it has been going pretty well. We also have with us
Mr.
Glenn Sarvadi, I think, the Slim Shady. I think that's
Sarvadi.
his name.
Yeah,
I think that's his name, the real Slim Sarvadi.
I don't think Glenn is with us today.
Is he?
It doesn't look like it.
Oh no.
Oh, no, that's just sad.
Oh,
well, we'll live without him.
All right.
But he generally is with us. Let's talk about our folks who just help us keep going with this. First one is CUNA.
Yeah,
CUNA is the only national association that advocates for the entire credit union movement. Is your strongest advocate. They promote, and support and protect advanced credit union concepts. They bring everyone together. It's a super valuable organization. We're thankful to have their support over the years. I can't tell you how many great folks I've met in that organization. Mike, I know you've been to many conferences. I've been to many conferences. I've seen Lou at conferences. I don't know if he's still allowed to go or if the incident keeps him out, but no, not anymore. But yeah. So definitely go check it out. They've got a great lineup of conferences this year in great places, and I'm looking forward to being in a few of these, and
me too.
Very excited about what's coming up. Then there's Member Pass. Member Pass is the hassle-free way to control and provide your identity. So this is really starting to take off. It's such a simple solution. If you don't have this at your credit union, I highly recommend it. Not because of all the security and safety it provides, but just the simplicity of, hey, who am I talking to on this conference call or this, this call center call? Oh, it's John Best. Let me just have you hit a button on my screen that pops a button on your phone. Yeah, is it you? Yeah, it's me. I verified it with the Face ID or the fingerprint or whatever. And we can move on with our lives. No 20 questions. We can get things done. And it's so useful for other things. It can be incorporated into signing documents, and people are starting to pick up on it. I'm really excited about it. What's interesting is the underlying technology is different than any other solution in regards to that. So very excited for all the things that are happening there. And the man behind it all, John Ainsworth, who is the legend in this business, has been around a long time. We're lucky to have him.
And the thing is, it benefits both the member and the credit union
because
it saves so much time for both parties. So it's
I mean, you can turn more calls in the call center. It changes everything.
Exactly. It changes the game.
Speaking of that, speaking of legends, there's a legend amongst us.
It's Lou Grilly.
Lou's a legend, but he's infamous. There's a difference. There's famous and infamous. Now we've got Mike Lawson with us, who I remember when he started CU Broadcast. The impact that he has had on the credit union industry is there's no way to quantify it. The value that he's brought, the people that he's brought together. If you aren't going to CU Broadcast at least once a week to check out what he's got, who he's talking to, he is the David Letterman of credit union. I'm serious. Credit union interviews. You do such a good job of getting to the point. You do such a good job of helping us to understand what's out there, what's being offered. And it's not just vendors, it's credit union leaders. That time you interviewed Michael Jordan, I thought was pretty cool.
He was really good.
But I think that was Michael Jordan from, it was Michael Jackson from credit union in Maine. But either way, very, very cool. So go check out CU Broadcast. And then finally, us, Best Innovation Group. Lately, we've just been doing a ton of work for people. We've helped everybody from doing assessments on their, their efficiencies at their credit union, to RPA, which is robotic process automation, to doing SDKs. We've done a ton of SDKs for people on platforms like Alchemy, platforms like Q2. We have just, we've got a bunch of legendary guys around here who are really good at this sort of stuff. And so if you need help like that, come talk to us. But you know what I want to talk about today? Let's see what
first,
the next slide
John,
is.
you are the folks at Big are the straw that stirs the drink around here in the fintech world. So
well, I'm about to stir the drink.
A lot
today.
of it wouldn't happen if it weren't for you guys there. So kudos to you guys for keeping us moving forward.
Well, thank you for that. Well, let me tell you this. If you're on this call and you work at a credit union, and I was talking yesterday.
Uh-oh, your mic went off, John. Try again.
I'm back. I touched the mic again. I need to fix that connector. I don't know why they put this connector on the back of the shirt. It's $1 million microphone. You would think that they would, make it so it's a non-micro USB better one. Sure, if you're listening, if you got a better mic, send it to me. But for now, this is what I got.
Feedback.
So if you're, yesterday I had the great pleasure of being on site at New York Municipal Credit Union. If you don't know that credit union,
oh really?
Downtown, they overlook the World Trade Center area. They were, one of the things you interviewed them many years ago for was what happened to them when in 2001, when all of that came down. So I've had the good pleasure of working with them for many years. And I was talking to Kyle and I said, Kyle's the CEO of that organization, Kyle Markland. And I said, what keeps you up at night? And Kyle said, how am I going to stay ahead of what's coming? And, my thought there, it perfectly sort of encapsulated kind of where my head is, I think, for 2023. So I'm going to lay it out like this, Mike. If you are part of a credit union leadership role, even if you're not, but you have to be looking at a meaningful project, a meaningful artificial intelligence product. And let me be clear about that, what a meaningful artificial intelligence project is. It's not necessarily something like we're going to introduce artificial intelligence into our lending system and see what happens. I'm not talking some big hairy thing off the scale, but you've got to find something to get your feet wet. And let me explain why and what's happened in the last 3 months. Things continue to get crazy. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about this incredible solution that's out here now that is this Chat GPT-3. So have you heard of Chat GPT-3?
It's been in every headline since at least the last month or so.
So Chat GPT-3 is built by OpenAI. And just to show you who OpenAI is, there are a lot of companies that are doing this. OpenAI is a company that is been really pushing hard on, in the AI space. And recently they released, and I've been with them for a long time. I've been working on many different things they have, but recently they released this Chat GPT-3. And what GPT-3 is, and I forget what the GPT stands for. Let me just look it up here. The acronym, I think it's generative pre-trained transformer. So it's a specific way of doing AI. And so when they built it, they built it out. The data in here is a free research version that goes up to, I think, 2021. So, and they said, hey, just use it, see what you think. Now, let me tell you how transformative this has been. Let's say, Mike, you're a kid and you need to do a report on George Washington. Write me hopefully you can see this. Can you see this?
Yep.
About George Washington and his life.
Yeah, a lot of English teachers are a little scared of this.
Yeah, so I just sent it off and let's watch it. It's rolling through. It's putting tons of information in here. It's giving me the background. And by the way, look at the etiquette on this. It's not just grabbing stuff from, websites and putting it in that role. It's literally writing, correct English information. Now, up until this point, there have been solutions like this, but the solutions would oftentimes be wrong or make up stuff or just sort of build things out. But you're watching something that would take me, if I decided to sit down and do this, I don't know, a couple hours. So what's the big deal about this? Well, what's the big deal is that with this went from something that was kind of useful to, oh my God, look what it can do. So let's use it in the context of a credit union. Let's say that you are working at the credit union, you just joined, you're in the teller line, and you want to know how ACH works. So you say, how does, we'll just do it this. What is ACH and how does it work? I haven't tested any of this. Okay. So I'm just showing you off the bat here. So I'll put that in and let's see what it comes up with. So clearly it's thinking about things. Definitely. Oh, look, there it goes. Stands for Automated Clearinghouse. It's the network that enables electronic financial transactions. Oh, boom. It's nailing it. It's explaining how it works and how the checks are presented, how everything goes through it. So right off the bat, as an educational tool, oh my God. I mean, you have the web, have the web, but you have other things. So this is one interesting aspect of what it could do. Now, this is just loaded with all this. When it says pre-trained data, what it means is it was pre-trained with a whole lot of data from the web and from everywhere else. So we can see that, it gave us some information on that. Now, I'm interested, and I've never tried this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to ask it for Lou's sake. Tell me about payment systems for credit unions. Actually, I'll just say, what is PSCU with regard to credit unions? See what it comes up with. Well, there you go. I mean, that's nuts. Now, what's inspiring me here is not what this is doing. What's inspiring me is the rate of change. How quickly this went from being a tool that was moderately functional to what it is today and where you're going. So I'm going to try another one. Let's say that.
So did it scrape this information from the PSCU website, or is it finding it from all over the place? What do you think, Lou? You don't know?
His head's shaking. He's worried it's going to replace him. I will ask it in a minute.
Well, that's the next
replace
question.
Lou Grill.
I've heard this is going to be like a coding tool.
It does do coding. Watch this. Write me some JavaScript, a JavaScript, or actually I'll do write me a Python program to calculate CVV. So anybody know what CVV is? Well, now guess what? It's going to tell you.
Verification value.
Well, there you go. It's definitely giving you a lot of information about CVV.
Yeah, that's a nice little education right there.
Yeah, let's see if it actually writes the program, though. I know it does write program. I could give you an example of program calculation using a simple algorithm. Oh, here it goes. It's just a demonstration, but look at this.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
I'm not kidding you.
Oh my God. That's insane.
And it's doing it right. It is a mod 10. It takes the card number as an input, reverses it, and uses the simple algorithm to calculate it. So it's not that you can calculate the code. You can just tell whether the code itself is right, which is nuts. This is, I can't put words to this. So here's another interesting one. Write me a email subject lines, or give me 5 catchy email subject lines to sell a car. So let's say you're a marketing person.
Yeah, it's a great marketing tool. That's awesome.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
So that's what's blowing my mind is if this is, they're giving this to us, but that means that GPT 3 or 4 is already in the works. Anybody got something they want me to try? You can put it in the chat before I move on. Let me see. I'll go out to the chat here. Should I get married? If it comes back and says, John, you're already married, I'm leaving. So, you know. So one thing that was interesting was it also won't give you advice on certain things like it's really well built to like suicide or something like that. But look, it's giving you details. I mean, it's certainly putting together a thoughtful response to the question. And yeah, the CYA language is very interesting. It's definitely something that, and by the way, this is free. So if you want to go to OpenAI and sign up, you can sign up. Just know they're collecting everything that you do. But it's out there. So what this tells me, and I'm going to spin over in a minute to another tool, but does anybody else have something that, you know, they thought like marketing is really a big one for this? I think, you know, I think that, oh, here's a great example. You know, let's say we're trying to explain to a member why they should use our card and not, you know, a credit union card. So explain why a credit card with a credit card with a lower rate is better than one with a higher rate. See what it says. This is something we have trouble with, right? We keep trying to explain to people that those 4 bags that you know, 2 free bags that you get aren't going to, you know, cover the cost of the interest charge that you're paying, but we can't get people to do it. We can't get people to move it over to us because they want all the rewards, but the rewards are better. The real reward is how much money you save in the finance. So, you know, think about this if it were connected to your PSCU data, Lou, and you could say, tell me about, you know, 2022 finances or something along those lines. Or, you know, if this was connected to your credit union and you could just sort of chat with your credit union data in a way that is meaningful and to the point. It's just nuts.
Yeah, I like Julie's
see.
question.
What's that?
I like Julie's question. What are the benefits of being a credit union member? So another great marketing tool for sure.
If it comes back and says there are none. Let's see. It's still, it looks like it's kind of stuck.
Oh, is it?
And I've seen this before. It gets a little confused occasionally and I have to reset it. So let me just
thinking about the last one.
Yeah, it's still finishing it up. It's probably writing. Actually, probably Citi noticed that I asked the question and canceled it. They were like, we gave them a loan. They're out of here, buddy. And they did say in the beginning that when I first logged in, there are a lot of people using this, a ton.
I like that.
I like that plan. I'm going to come back to it. But in the meantime, I'm going to spot over here real fast. So this is a product called Jasper. Now, Jasper, it uses different technology that it uses different technology than what the ChatGPT 3 is using. And so it's a different product, but let's look at it things. So you sign up for this product. It's Jasper AI. For those of you that wonder, maybe Melissa, you could put that in the chat. And it gives you all of these different things that you can sort of do. So for example, we talked about these email subject lines, right? So let's use one here. We're going to use, Visions Credit Union, tone of voice. I'm going to do informative. And what is this about? It's this email is promoting our new 0% car loan program that starts in July or starts in February. I can't spell February, so that's a problem. We're just going to go March 23. We'll do the language options and we'll tell it to generate. So your next car is about to get a lot cheaper. That's pretty good, actually. New 0% car loan. Now, what's interesting about these are the AI is actually doing some work to decide what's going to get opened. Like what's the, which one of these will get opened. If I want new ones, I can, by the way, I could have generated more. I could have generated 10.
Yeah.
You could easily A/B these if you want.
That's
and
why.
you could
Oh
have-
gosh, I was just thinking the same thing, John.
Yeah, you could A/B and see which ones. 0% interest on car loans. We spoil our members. Interesting, it says that, huh? It was smart enough to know that it was a credit union and it didn't say customers, it said members. So yeah, this is fascinating, the various things it can do. This I'm going to have to get back into. I think it's confused.
So is Jasper the equivalent to Chat GPT, or is it how do
It's
you
a
compare the
different
two?
program because it's using a different AI technique. Okay. Generative pre-trained language is one way to go. Then there's joint intent classifications. There's a whole bunch of different stuff. You don't necessarily have to know about them. You just need to know, that they're different in a way, but you
Okay.
can see all the different things it'll do. So let's say you're trying to figure out social media and you want to do a FAQ generator, right? So this was an interesting one. You can actually go in and let me go ahead and do this. This one's pretty interesting. So I'm going to do a summarize one. So I like this one, by the way. Explain it to a child. That's really well done. But there's one in here that says we're going to, summarize basically some information. So let me just find that real fast. There it is, content summarizer. So I'm going to go ahead and put some content in. In this case, there was a story on here that I thought was interesting. People really want BNPL. Apparently BNPL is still a thing and it's still out there. So let's see if we take this and toss it into the content summarizer. So I'm just going to go ahead. I can just put this link in and say, yeah, generate this for me. What's this thing about? I don't really want to go and read it. Here it is. Shoppers expense this. In order to meet these expectations, retailers need to offer a variety, and they're working on developing new technologies. There's your content. So let's take something from, I don't know. I know a website, CU Broadcast. I heard of these guys. Here it goes. Let's grab something here. I don't know. Maybe.
Hey, by the way, go to PSCU's member forum.
Oh yeah. I should go there. Yeah, that's probably what it'll come up
Nice
and
little
say.
plug for you, Lou.
So here we go. I don't know what this is going to say. So I'm ahead of time telling you that you're seeing this at the same time I am.
Ooh, in real time.
Real time. So I'm going to go ahead and generate from what this is and see what it comes back with. Now think about this. There you go. Banks include for leave their bank if they didn't offer, and so this is the banking trending stuff. So it's interesting. I mean, it immediately pulled this out. That's valuable, especially if you're Mike or if you're a credit union trying to, do content summary.
Yeah.
There's a lot more in here that'll do. You could send it a picture. You could do a lot of things. Speaking of pictures, we'll go back to OpenAGI because the discussion I want to have at the end of this is use cases that people are seeing. And I like any of these allow you to specify the target reader. We're not there yet, Glenn, but I think that's where we're headed. That's the whole point of this. So I think I showed this not too long ago, but I'm going to show it again. So one of the things that also has suddenly just jumped up and has been doing incredible stuff is this idea of doing art with it. So I was recently at a wedding and they asked me, I did a bunch of filming and they asked me, hey, John, could you, take the video? It's my family's wedding. So they said, could you take the video and make a video? And I thought, well, I can do that. but I don't want to pay for any clip art or anything. So I went in here and I said, I'd like to see 2 wedding rings, because it was a big country wedding out in Florida, on a fence post with a horse and a field in the background. And this is what it gave me. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Right. And then I said, well, I'd also like, they asked me to do one for the reception. And so I said, 2 wedding rings sitting on the table inside the wedding reception is taking place inside the barn. Now, what it does is it gives you these options. Of these options, I could pick one. This one seemed the best to me because I like the lights in the background. It kind of represented the scene that I was seeing. So I said, yeah, let me look at this one. And then it upgraded. Now, these are actual rings? No. But imagine a world, if we're starting here, how long before we start seeing these modifiers that Glenn's talking about? Well, which rings did they buy? Do you have a picture of them? Yeah, I have. Here's their rings. Okay, I'll include them in the picture. If you haven't seen what's been going on with like Lensa and some of this stuff, it's nuts. What's driving me towards this is revolution happening before our eyes. Technology comes in 2 flavors: evolution and revolution. Evolutionary technology goes slow. Payments are an evolutionary technology. Why? Because the network's so big. It takes time for new things to get sort of absorbed into it. Bill Pay is a great example. And frankly, it's often a Me Too sort of thing. Like everyone has it and it has different variations on it. Revolutionary technology is technology that is coming fast. It represents a whole different way of looking at things. And sometimes people will leave you to go to, if there's a product or service that's revolutionary. The one I think of a lot is RDC, or remote deposit capture. It came out, people were willing to leave their financial institutions to go somewhere else that had this. That convenience was just that important. This is heading towards that model where, being able to inquire, imagine, a version of GPT here. And I'm just going to go ahead and log back into this and get it back up and running so I can ask that one question. But imagine a version of GPT here that is dedicated to the credit union. And instead of, it's that chatbot that we've all been looking for. It answers every one of the questions. It answers everything, and it has knowledge about you as a specific member. The reason it has that knowledge is because it's been the generative pre-training has been done, in conjunction with sort of the overall generative, in conjunction with the overall generative pre-training. It's also been done, on the credit union data. Imagine that you trained it on, all the different products and different things you have, and turned it loose.
The people or the companies that provide chatbot technology, is this a threat to those companies?
I think it's a race to implement it. I think yes. I think that if you have a chatbot, if that, because it's going to be just, if you don't think that Chase and Wells and all these guys are seeing this and someone smart is over there going, yeah, I want that for our organization tomorrow, and get started, get working. You're crazy, because they absolutely are. And just like everything else, for those of you who've ever seen me present, one of the things I present on often, I use the grapes and cucumbers routine. I think I've shown you that, haven't I, Mike? If I haven't, I'll bring it up real fast.
Fresh my memory.
So, there's monkey, and you put grape, cucumber. And what that does is, there was a study, and I'll talk you through it. So this guy's talking about this study. Are you seeing this, Mike? Is it playing?
Yeah, we see.
Okay. So this guy's talking about this study. He says he has 2 monkeys. The monkeys know, he wants to find out if they're pillars of sort of morality or related to fairness. So first monkey, they did it with 2 brand new monkeys. They showed them this often over and over again, but they wanted to see if you give one monkey something and you give the other monkey the same thing, they seem pretty happy. But when you give one monkey something and then you give the other monkey something that it perceives as better, it suddenly no longer wants what it was perfectly happy with a few minutes ago. And the results are pretty funny. So I'll go over this and then I'll explain it in terms of the chatbot or other things here. So this guy's talking about it. He's setting up the procedure here, and then he's going to get us to that point. I'm going to jump to the monkeys here. So Monkey on the left is getting cucumber. Monkey on the right is getting grapes. Monkey on the left is perfectly happy with cucumber right up until he sees monkey on the right get grapes. Then he is an unhappy monkey. So we'll go ahead and watch it. So he gives him a rock, and for the rock, you get a piece of cucumber. Oh, delicious cucumber. So good. Here's a rock. You have to give me a rock. That's the what you do. These monkeys have never done this before, and he gets a grape. Other monkey sees that. Okay. Well, here's my rock. Please, looking forward to my grape, I'm guessing. This is BS. That's what that is. It's garbage. Why on God's earth would you give me? And so,
my gosh.
so this relationship here is exactly what's going to happen when someone interacts with this amazing, when something is that far out of whack, when the first time that you interact with the bank that's incorporated this GPT-3 technology or whatever, and you have this experience, this is how you're going to feel about every other experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just takes sort of seeing that, and that's what drive things forward. For those of you who are interested, I'll put this in the chat there. Let's see if the GPT finally came up, and then we'll go in and discussing a few more things. So
Gosh.
let me try it one more time here. It's getting so much, as you mentioned, so much press. It's ridiculous, just how much is going on with it.
Well, and speaking of press, this is a big threat to any journalist out there or any editor, reporter writing stories, because this can write a story for you, and boom, you're out there. I mean, think
well,
of
I
that.
still think you got to be smart enough to feed it the story and to give it the.
Well, then you can write the basics of a story, and then an editor can go in and elaborate or add a human quality to it for sure. But it's a definite shot across
right.
the
Well,
bow,
it still
that's
has
for
to
sure.
know something about it. So, for instance, you know, it's not smart enough to know, say, you know, it's only up to a certain point. Wow, it's really down. We'll switch over to Discord real fast and just do a couple of those, and then I'll come back to it. So does anybody have a Discord picture that they want me to try? These are always fun. Somebody has something like, you know, a man riding a raptor or whatever. Anybody have anything interesting that they want me to try? I'm not seeing anything, but people might be typing. You got something, Mike?
What's that? I was reading Glenn's thing in the chat here. My wife is a teacher. She's a teacher, heard about this, and she hadn't heard of FTX until a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has. But the interesting thing is ChatGPT-3 won't help you with FTX because it's only knows things up to 2021. So
here's another one from Jim G. If we uploaded our core processing documentation, could the AI find answers for our credit unions?
I think so. I do. I think not only could it find answers, but it could interpret problems. I think it could be created to say, man, they're just getting hammered right now. Bad timing on my part, but at least they did get to show you a little of it. You know, I think that I think more importantly, it's not just about finding the answers. I think that it will be able to look at a problem and deduce the answer. So you might feed it your logs, you might feed it your your ABENs, abnormal endings and other things from the journals, and it might come back and give you really detailed requests. That's the kind of thing I think that you might see. Let me try something here on this. Let me try something credit union-y. So I'm going to say credit union branch of the future. Just see what it comes up with. I don't know what it'll do. We'll see. So I'll let that run. It takes a little bit. It actually goes. The other interesting thing about this is, check this out, Mike. Both of these guys, by the way, there's a Discord for this as well. This is Discord for those of you that don't know. If you don't know what Discord is, your kids do, and you should ask them about it. But it's interesting because they chose to implement this in this Discord. As you can see, I'm typing / imagine. It's kind of like prompts of the old days, like it's just putting things in, but it's basically The interface isn't some website where I pick a bunch of things and do a bunch of stuff. It's just a, direct connection to it. So if you think about GPT-3 and what maybe the future of home banking might look like, it could be, I transfer enough money to cover my my mortgage for the next 6 months to Legends Credit Union. Oh wow, this is coming up with some interesting stuff.
I'm watching it. It's like the picture gets more clear each time.
Yeah, so let's see what it got. Okay,
Look at that thing
interesting.
in the upper left. What's that?
I don't know, that looks like a branch of the future, I guess. These are pretty cool. I mean, just as the first try. So if we wanted to if you wanted to go through, and by the way, the code thing that it just wrote is nuts. That was really the big play there. But yeah, if you wanted to go through and have a couple ideas of, hey, what's some new designs? We got this space, that's over in the grocery store. This is a pretty interesting way of going about it, right? That's interesting too. Oh, we got some room at the airport. How could we put a kiosk up? That's pretty cool looking. So, it's not really describing any flows of the future or anything like that, but the pictures are, I think, really good. And if I was interested in one, which of those do you like best, Mike?
I'm kind of liking the upper right. That looks kind of cool.
This one?
Second off a little bit, and maybe the bottom left as well.
Okay, so we can pick one. Which one do you want to expand on?
I'll go upper right.
Upper right. So the way it works is this is 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want 2.
Sure.
So we're going to say, give us variations on 2. So it's now going to go through and give us a whole bunch of variations. While that's happening, I'm going to try to re-bring up the Open AI one more time, because I really want to do some more code with it, because I want to show it can do other languages, which is pretty nuts. So I'm going to give it another shot here and see if it'll come up.
Okay, what's better, John? This or Google?
Well, that's a question. I mean, or does Google now Google is part of this. They're part of these companies. So
are they? Okay.
Yeah, do they go ahead and
do they implement this?
Do they implement, I think so. I think there's probably plenty of people. I'm going to try it in a new window.
In the chat, how long until much of the content you read on social media will be written by this technology? That's
the thing. It's revolutionary. It's probably already happening.
Yeah.
That's what's nuts. It's probably already happening. And so, because this is something of what Peter Diamandis would call an exponential technology. It's a technology that makes other technologies stronger and faster. And when it can be applied at a lower level, it brings, because communication is optimally our number one sort of thing that we do. Whoops, it said its interaction failed. Let me try again. There it goes. Does not look like I'm going to get in on this other one. It's really pretty hosed, it's looking like, but let's see.
Is OpenAI publicly traded? Because their stock might be doing pretty well.
No, they're not publicly traded. As a matter of fact, they've got, now what's interesting is they already have an API, which if for those of you that are part of our and I'm going to get back to where I originally started with talking about Kyle while I wait here. So they already have an API, and I've already started working with it, and I'm already sort of incorporating some data into it that I plan on sharing with our innovation club next week, actually. For those of you that want to know more about the Innovation Club, we're still looking for some members. It's bigfintech.com. And then in the Innovation Club, or in there is the Innovation Club website that will show you all about it and how you can join and get you some information. But if you just go there, I don't know if maybe it's my web. No, it's not that. So there it is right there. But it has an API, and it's not all that difficult to set up. I've been part of OpenAI API since their inception. So, but the idea that we can take this and start pointing it at things, it's pretty nuts how quickly it's going to. I think this is going to move, I guess is what I'm saying. So here's your variations on those, Mike.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
They're silly, like, hey, this has something on the table. This doesn't. These chairs are a different color. These aren't. The screens are different.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you decide you liked one, and I'm just going to pick one for you, you can actually go through and upscale it. So now what it's doing is it's saying, hey, right now, this is a very small picture. If you were to screenshot this and blow it up, it would look all pixelated, and you're a marketing guy.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be great. But you can open it in the browser and you can take a look at it there and get a better feel for it. But you can see it's not really done at a high quality. So now what I've done is I've said, hey, I want that in a high quality. So now it's taking this number 4, which is this one, the one down here in the corner, and it's going to upscale it. So back to what I was going to say. I think that we've got to come up with some meaningful API or AI projects within the Crayunion space. And I think that if we're not this year, we're already behind, I think. But if we're not doing something this year, if marketing's not already using some of these tools, I think that should be, step one. I think I think that, that we've got to find some serious useful AI stuff. And I'm not sure the AI is going to work out to be all vendors. I worry that that's one of the things we tried to do with data, doing the, our data, validations was all vendors. And I think it's important to have vendors to support you, but I think ultimately these are tools, and the tools need to be used in service of your mission and what you do as a credit union, so that you can then take data analytics and point it in that direction, or you can come up with use cases. For example, the idea that you could use AI to take a look at all of this information and say, tell me about the future of our lending platform with regard to charge-offs or something along those lines, and not just get back a bunch of documents or a bunch of data that has to be interpreted, but literally get something that's well scoped and something that could be provided to the board or be done on the fly based on where you are. So Mike, what are you hearing about this, and what have you seen out there, while I see if I can just one more time?
Yeah, but what I kind of mentioned earlier is that this can be a new coding tool. It's going to put a lot of reporters' jobs on alert, so to speak. So that's the type of stuff that I've been hearing. And then maybe for government usage, who knows, the sky's the limit with that type of stuff. I mean, obviously what we're seeing here, like you said earlier, John, there's a newer, better version, and probably obviously in the works. And this stuff is only going to get better and better. You think it's good now? Just wait, a few months or a year.
This is the tip of the iceberg right
Yeah.
now. That's what's blowing my mind, is how quickly this is growing into that space and what it's doing. And that's what's been, for me, that's been the eye opener. And especially as I work with the API, because I had already started working with the API, their APIs some time ago. I was working on, I had done something to evaluate Twitter posts to determine the tone of a member when they post about you. Are they happy? Are they upset? And then being able to alert the credit union and go, hey, here's somebody who just posted about you and their tone is not good. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So we got it back. So what is it? What is a credit union? I think is what we wanted to ask. Or what are the benefits of being a credit union member?
Yeah.
See what it says.
Oh, there we go. That was the one I was waiting for. Number 6.
Yep. Now the question is, and I think that Glenn was going to say, does this explain the does this explain or was this just completely just taken and screen scraped from the CUNA website? I don't think so. I don't think I could find something like this. Let's try this. 10 reasons to join a credit union. But you have to spell credit union right.
Hey, JB.
Yeah.
It's your son. So I've been using this a lot, just messing around with it. And what I found you can do to kind of, you can ask it to shorten things, you can ask it to elaborate, you can ask it to rephrase. You can ask it to, hey, can you rephrase the second sentence of what you just wrote? And you can get that granular with it. What I posted in the chat was I actually had a conversation with it about being excited for the new year, and it wrote a LinkedIn post for me about me being excited for the new year, and I posted it, and it did well. You're right about its limitations as far as the year goes. So it talked about being excited for 2021, I believe. So I changed all the dates so that it was accurate, but I posted it almost verbatim, and it did great. And so, I'm the one who put in the chat that, I think it's just a matter of time before a lot of content that you see written is written by some tool similar to this, or at least the genesis of the content is written by a tool similar to this one.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is this right here is nuts. So all I told it, and I agree, it has all those platforms. This is the most interesting thing to me. So I'm writing a program to send a text message from my from Python, there, and it immediately said, hey, use Twilio. Not only that, but it said, don't forget to install it. And this is just a basic example. You may want to do something else. That's crazy. Let me try this. Write a Python program to capture data from a website. See what that does. Be done using a package or library, a screen scraping library. So it immediately knew what I was talking about. It's going to use requests and go to Beautiful Soup, which is a common website that people use to pull things in. And here you go. It's going to go through and pull that data in, send it out, extract the data we want to do, and pop it in and run it. If I had a few more minutes, I would actually put this into Python and run it for you so you can see, because that will work. But now I've been doing everything in Python. Let's try it in a different language. So I'm going to tell it, a lot of Koreans write things in Java. I'm going to try C#, a C# program to capture information from a website. Ooh, R, that would be fun. I'll try that next. Let's see what it says. There you go. It knew what it was. It knew web client. That's crazy. R is Fernando mentioned R. R is a very heavy duty statistical language. So I'll try that in just a minute. I could watch this all day. This to me is like TV.
So how many of us, if we were in high school, would use this to write your upcoming research?
You could pass
paper?
so many college classes with this. You could pass right now. There are college professors going, holy shmoly.
Yep.
Well, and the conversation that I hear, JB, is people that say it's a similar conversation to when your teacher used to tell you, you're not always going to have a calculator, right?
Mhm.
Well, then the phone came out and we all always have a calculator. How long? I mean, I can talk to this thing on my phone already. So, I guess this thing's already unleashed. It's full. It's already out there and available to everyone, meaning, people as technically savvy as you, all the way to, middle schoolers that are trying to use it to, pass a biology test.
Yeah.
Look at this, Fernando. That's nuts. Let's try this.
So should we address the pros and cons here? Obviously, we see the pros. and we see a few of the cons.
Yeah, let's do that. I think
Wait, JB, you should ask it what the pros and cons of it are.
Yeah, really. That's a good one, Ryan.
here we go. That's a brilliant idea. Yeah. I'm assuming everybody can read this. Here's your pros. It's
Okay.
impressive performance on NLP tasks, that's for sure. Few shot learning is interesting. So few shot learning means that it learns something without having to have a bazillion examples, which is a new thing, which is really cool. If you're going to run it, it requires a large amount of computational resources. It's been trained on a massive amount of data, and it can pick up biases. And I'll throw something at it here in a minute just to see, but the biases are the big thing. That's probably the number one concern. So let's say you asked it to write a report on George Washington and it was biased in some way about George Washington, then that bias could be represented in the result. How do you overcome can GPT-3 be biased? See what it says. Basically what it said a minute ago.
Yeah, it's all depends on the data that it has.
Look, it says it's been found to replicate racial and gender biases found in the data it was trained on, which can lead to unfair discriminatory results. But see, I could think of bias in programming, like, oh, it likes to use this routine, which, some people say sucks and some people say is great. It could go either way. But yeah, I can certainly see that. But I think that that's the number one con for me, is the bias, especially in the world we're in, where bias can be a big problem for lending.
Yeah.
It's how it comes to its decisions is really hard to explain, like what it, why it chose what it did to give us. And
that seems to me, I mean, if it's one of those black box kind of things. If you don't know, but if maybe somebody does, it feels to me a little bit like one of those, where they go 51% attacks, where you can, somehow take a control of the voting. If you figure out a way to pollute the pool of the data it's coming up with, you could trick it into believing that Vladimir Putin, has all the best intentions of going into Ukraine.
yeah, I told it to write me a spaceship game, and it's doing it, which I think on a future one, I'll actually run one of these for you guys. I'll do a demonstration, but we're getting close to time here. But
Oh my gosh, that time went really fast.
just trying to, this is the stuff I played with when I took my month off, and I became really, that plus the Idaho Moscow murders. Both of those were, I was trying to help solve that, but now they got the guy, so they don't need me anymore. But this stuff is, I mean, Lou, you're on here. Lou, PSU does nothing but go through its data pretty regularly. I gotta think you guys are looking into this sort of stuff, but it's I'm sure that if you had something like this pointed at your credit card data, can you imagine
how much we could reduce fraud?
Yes, fraud's a big one.
I hate to be the skeptic on this one, but it's typical fraud stuff. It's a never-ending race. What if the fraudsters get there first?
Yeah. Identifying suspicious transactions.
So is Triverity looking at something like this, Lou?
Don't know that.
Well, I'm sure they already have their versions of this. This is just sort of a new engine that is so powerful. I mean, the looking through for suspicious patterns and things has been being done forever and ever. But fake reviews, I like that one. I hate when I buy something and I mean, it's happened to me occasionally, particularly when I'm buying parts off of Amazon where I get something that like, oh, I read the reviews and I should look closer. That's a fake. These are all fake reviews. I got garbage sent to me. So, you know, it's certainly something to consider. What's really cool is if you go into their Discord, and I'll just join it here to see what kind of people, and this is my other Discord, so I'll have to go through, but if you could see what people are doing with it, which is the community and what they've, you know, what they've agreed to, which is, or what they're doing and the stuff they're putting in, which is nuts. You know, there's all kinds of things that people are putting out there, and they're constantly sort of pushing this envelope. And this is what GPT-3 or the folks at OpenAI wanted, was to be able to do that. So I guess my thing is, find something with AI, something meaningful to your organization. There's so much options out there, so many projects, but get your feet wet, understand what it can do, find something that's innocuous and safe, you know, that, but we got to learn just how to even interact with these companies and what it takes and how you're going to train things and how you're going to put it together. Because it's coming, and it's coming fast, and others are going to take this and they're going to use it to leapfrog us. They're going to use it to do things. And our members are those monkeys. No offense to the members or the monkeys, but you know, when they see something better, they're going to want it. You know, they're not going to settle for the cucumbers anymore. And my worry is looks like a really, really, really delicious grape.
Got that right. Yeah. How soon do we see something like this at Finovate this year?
Probably this year, because it has an open API.
Right.
It won't be I don't think anything can be super well formed at this point, but I think there'll be people that are on to incredible ideas already. But I mean, here's what I see, you know, in the near future, and by near future, I mean next 5 years or so. Everybody's going to have this sort of oracle in their world, something like this, that's connected to all the Craigian data, and it's going to be like on your intranet or on this website, and it'll be hard to ignore because it's going to immediately be, you know, hey, tell me how what are the steps to do this or that on the system, or this or that. And not only that, but right now it's only interpreting data from, you know, text and whatnot. Shortly, it's going to be where I send it to the CU broadcast site and it watches your whole video and comes back and tells me about it.
Yeah.
And it tells me about the body behavior. It's going to say, we think Mike Lawson is a serial killer. Why? Because we've watched 10,000 videos of him. And we've also watched a lot of the videos of Ted Bundy, and we see a relation. And so we are suggesting a preemptive arrest of Mike Lawson, a la Minority Report, before he kills again, as far as we know. I'm being silly, but that's, I mean, it's mind blown for me.
Get it? Yeah, totally get it. Totally see it.
So I you know, I'm curious if anyone wants to share the type of stuff they're working on, you know, from an AI standpoint, or anybody has ideas or anybody's working with this, please, you know, come share with us. If you know a vendor, I'm going to be debuting some of my stuff next week for our innovation club. So Fernando, you can look forward to that. And I just had the AI write it all. I said, hey, write an API for yourself to connect to my credit union. But in all seriousness, these are game-changing things that slip in behind these are the types of things that people ask me, how have you become good at sort of predicting sort of the future? This is how I do it, is I look for these things that are, you know, what, like I said, Diamandis calls exponential technologies. I call them transformative technologies or revolutionary technologies. And they're the things that I look and go, wow, that could have an effect across the board on this or that. All right. Well, I think we're at time. I think I have another meeting right after this, but I thank everyone for joining us in 2023. We're going to have a great year. I'm looking forward to it. Mike, I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. I'm going to be out that way. So
come on by.
Yeah, I want to be in the garage. I want to do, one of my goals for this year is to do I want to be in the room that you're in. I want the two of us to be together and do a town hall. And I want Glenn there as well. All
Oh,
three of
gosh.
us just standing right there with you. So that's my plan.
Crowded
be fun.
garage.
It's the garage.
Yeah, well, it's the garage in San Diego. So as long as it's not, you haven't floated away or anything, I think we're good.
No, not yet. No. We're dry in here. It's very wet outside.
All right. Well, thank you everyone
Any-
for joining us. And
Thanks, guys. Thanks, John. That was a lot of fun.
yeah, I love doing this stuff. You know, I love show and tell.
Oh yeah.
More show and tell to come. I got other things. So
All right.
we'll talk
Good deal.
soon.
Hey.
Sounds
Bye.
good. Thanks, guys.